Start Over Strong, Life After a DUI, a podcast for people, not offenders. Brought to you by Smart Start, the nation's most trusted, judgment-free ignition interlock provider. Hello and welcome to the show, your favorite podcast, Stigma Free IID. I'm Morgan Ryan.
And I'm Izzy Varela.
We have a wonderful episode planned for you today. Izzy, tell us what's different about today's episode.
So a little bit different. Right now, we are currently at the Global IID annual sales kickoff in Grapevine, Texas.
All right, let's give it up, you guys. Give it up. Wonderful. Lots of smiling faces in here today. We have what I call a foundational episode planned. So for those of you that are listening, we are going to talk all about SR22 and FR44. We have what I call a product partner with us here today, but also one of our favorite guests. He's basically like a co-host now, Mr. Steve Luce. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Steve, you have been with us. We've talked about so many topics before, cannabis to judges to attorneys. Any favorite topics that we've covered today?
You know, nothing like stuffing your mouth full of donuts on a podcast. That was great.
False positives episode.
Yes, all about food. It's
one of my favorites as well.
Yes, that was a great episode. Well, without further ado, I would love to introduce our guest today. He is a phenomenal person, someone I've worked with for about 2 years now, Mr. Ashur from Topflight Insurance. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here, be part of this podcast and this beautiful event. So thank you for having me.
Yeah. And if I understand, you and Steve are good buddies, good friends, quite identical.
Yes. You know, when we bring our heads together, it brings such a shine to the industry. It's just great. So.
It's like big and little, right?
Yeah.
They put me
twins. We're twins. That's all there is to it.
So Ashur, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about Topflight?
So it's funny. I was thinking about this. You don't really think about it when this is what you do. It's your passion. So I'm sitting there last night thinking, how long have I been doing this? And it dawned on me, 18 years. And I'm thinking, that's a long time. And I'm getting older. And it all hit me last night, and I started seeing the wrinkles and everything started falling apart on me. But here we are today. All jokes aside, Topflight Insurance is something that was put together out of passion. I've been in the industry a long time, worked some of the largest brokerages in the country. I worked for them, moved my way up, anything from a payment taker all the way to upper management and leadership for those corporations until the day I decided that I would do it for myself.
That's wonderful. SR22, FR44. I like to envision these and think of them as being synonymous with an IID. That's an ignition interlock device, car breathalyzer. We have a phenomenal almost bundling that happens and occurs, and you can save a lot of money. We'll get into that. First and foremost, it's extremely important that for our listeners and viewers today, I give our disclaimer. Okay, so this disclaimer exists on any SR22 information that we do provide as an IID provider. Smart Start is not an insurance provider. We don't sell insurance. We don't pretend to be experts in something we're not. That's where you come in, Ashur. But we do care deeply about making our customers feel good about the money they're spending and the partners that we've chosen to go to market with. So without further ado, we're going to get into some questions with you, Ashur, about SR22. As you know, myself, Morgan, I stand for our customer and I fight on their behalf. I try to ensure that they don't spend too much and that they're having a phenomenal experience. I know, Izzy, you wanted to talk today a little bit about our program advisor team and how that fits into this equation as well.
Yeah, sure. So there's a reason why we call them program advisors, right? Program advisors are specifically trained to know the rules and regulations in each state. They also come from a point of empathy. So they're patient. They're not on a clock to rush through the process. They want to understand anything that you're going through. As I mentioned before, the goal of the program is to complete the program. So that's something very different about the way that we do things at Smart Start and Global IID.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of confusion as well on SR22 and FR44 coverage. Do I need it? Do I have to have it? How long do I have to have it? We'll get into those stipulations quickly. But let's go ahead and get into the myth busting and core questions today. Izzy, did you want to go ahead and start?
Sure. So, Ashur, glad to have you here. You work with drivers every day who are required to carry SR22 or FR44. And firsthand, you see how confusing and stressful it can be. Can you briefly tell me what Topflight does, what you do, and who you help?
Absolutely. So Topflight Insurance is a nationally appointed insurance agency. We help clients with their auto insurance and their SR22 needs. So any state that you're in, we'll be able to take care of your needs. It's not just the SR22 process. It's your auto insurance process and the journey that you're going to go through after facing a DUI.
Okay. Steve, I know you have a lot of experience in this arena as well. You're quite particular about who you choose to partner with as well. Standards are quite high. Tell me a little bit about your history for any new viewers and why this individual and this team was chosen specifically as our premier partner.
SR22 is such a big part of the DUI journey because it's every client that we have for IID has to have SR22 to get their driver's license back. So as we went through the journey, we were trying to find a partner that was key. And Judy, if she's here, actually answered a phone call one day at our front desk and say, "Hey, I have this guy on the phone. He sounds like he's a pretty good guy. Would you like to talk to him?" And I said, sure, send him on back. So that was one of the rare calls I took on my desk phone. Which,
so, Ash, this was a cold call?
It was a cold call, right? Wow. So, yeah, he's still kind of cold.
I'm not surprised
but they sent it to my desk phone, which I never get a desk phone call. I'm like, oh, wow, I get to use my desk phone. So I picked it up. Two and a half hours later, we were still chatting about DUI and the whole journey, and we just clicked instantly. And our bond I think we have a friendship almost more now than we do a business association. So we turned into that. But we really spoke about SR22 and his passions, because he had a passion. As you heard him speak before, he started from the ground up and worked his way through these major companies. And he spoke about clients that were being taken advantage of. That's one of the big things that I saw out of that, and how he can offer a service of SR22 and insurance where the client is not being taken advantage of. So that's really where we clicked there, and we've been moving forward ever since.
Okay. Well, is it true that SR22 and FR44 are a type of insurance? And I've also heard the term binder. What does that mean?
Any of these, if it's a SR22, if it's a FR44, it has to attach to auto insurance. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty much, think of it as a certificate of insurance. Prove that you've got the state minimum coverage at all times.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, I'm a driver. I get a DWI, OWI, DUI, and I am told that I need to attach this binder or certificate of insurance, so to speak, to my regular insurance because I'm an at-risk driver. I'm riskier than others on the road. True or false?
So the way that it works, it's in order to be on the road, you have to have insurance. Mm-hmm. And this is the way to prove as a higher risk driver, someone that's been involved in an incident that could be deemed as higher risk. This is the way for them to hold you accountable to have the state minimums at all times.
Okay. Is it required in all states?
Almost all states. There's a handful of states that don't.
Okay. And FR44 is Florida specifically.
Florida and Virginia.
Okay.
2 states.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I know we have a ton of questions today to get through outside of just Morgan's questions. So I think specifically when it comes to FR44, SR22, do they do the same thing though? Are they different?
Pretty much it's the same thing, different title. The only main difference is FR44 is held at a higher standard of limits, coverage limits.
Okay.
But other than that, it's the same type of filing or binder.
Can you get SR22 from your basic insurance provider?
Absolutely. So in those states, for example, Florida, there's a FR44, but you can also get a SR22. So for example, FR44 would apply to a DUI. Okay. SR22 would apply more to, say, let's say you get in an accident, you didn't have insurance. So there's still, you'll hear both terms and it could get confusing, but FR44 will cover the DUI side in Florida versus other states where the SR22 would cover that. And these are things that our agents are trained to break down, and based on your state where you're calling in from, they'll be able to explain that to you and make sure you have the right coverage at all times to keep you compliant and make sure you're on the road.
Okay. Let's talk about money. Izzy and I are very sensitive to money, and we are always trying to ensure that our customers have the most cost-effective experience. Izzy, do you want to ask some questions about money grabbing? Yeah,
it comes up constantly in conversations with customers, right? So my question is, let's talk about elephant in the room. A lot of people feel like it's just another way to take money, especially when they're down, right? So is SR22 itself a money grab?
So misconception, or when people think of SR22, they think expensive. The reality is your auto insurance gets expensive, but the actual SR22 is a filing and it costs $25 to $50, depending on your carrier. It's a one-time filing fee per term. So if you have a 6-month policy, you would pay that $25 every 6 months. Or if it's an annual policy, you'd pay that $25. Reality is SR22 expensive? The answer is no. Does your auto insurance get expensive? The answer is yes.
Okay. Steve, can you talk to me a little bit about bundling? SR22 seems to be synonymous again with ignition interlock device, IID, car breathalyzer. How can we bundle and save?
So SR22 is when you get your IID, they're kind of at the same time. So you bundle those two together. And one of the things we see across the industry is different companies providing different services. So Ashur, what do you see when you look out there, your typical client that comes in? Are they able to bundle the IID and the insurance or a save, or is that a myth? Is that something they actually could bundle that insurance package with the IID, or is that something that comes along later?
Well, it's part of the journey. These are the two. Well, I would say SR22 is the longest lasting out of the requirements. Majority of the states, they need it for 3 years. But again, with the ignition interlock is another one of those requirements as part of the journey, and they need it for a longer period of time. So creating this total package between Topflight Insurance and SmartStart has been brilliant, especially for the consumer journey. Being able to make one phone call and take care of your 2 longest lasting requirements, it's brilliant and it's very helpful.
I certainly love it. If I was calling in, I like to save time. I want it all done right now. I'm very much an instant gratification person. But so the program advisor on the phone, they're going to ask some prompting questions.
Correct. It's part of the process, right? So one of the things that differentiate us from some of the other competitors in the market is that we are thinking about this. We're thinking more holistically. So we want to make sure that we're working with all our partners to uncover and to recommend a holistic package. So that's why the relationship with Topflight's been so important as we're going through the process of getting your ID. Guess what? We're thinking about the SR22 that you're going to need as well. And a lot of the customers that are calling in, they haven't even thought that far ahead, right? So it just gives them kind of that next step in the process, and then we can refer them over to Ashur's team.
Okay. So I can call in to get my IID ignition interlock device through SmartStart, talk to a program advisor on the phone that's an expert in my specific state, and then also indicate that I'm interested in bundling through the total package to get also SR22.
Yeah, even if they're not thinking about it, that's part of the process that we're doing, and we're asking, and we're doing a nice warm handoff to Ashur's team to make sure that get that process covered as well.
But as far as I understand, though, there's more value to bundling with SmartStart and Total Package outside of other competitors. Talk to me about broker fees. Broker fees is a hot topic, and it's quite expensive. So can you explain to everybody what that means?
Absolutely. So the concept or the vision behind this, and when Steve and I have these 2-hour phone calls, and I enjoy them, it's bringing the ideas of change, and not just to empower these people through the journey, but to change the industry. When someone gets a DUI, so what I do is, besides running my business, I truly take the time to dig in and put myself in that person's situation. When you go through a DUI, first thing a lot of people do is they'll go online, they're searching, Googling, they're on Reddit, they're asking that uncle that got that DUI in 2003. They're getting this info from everywhere. It's a bunch of data, and they're inputting it in their head and trying to figure out, what do I do next? And the things that pop up are your SR22s, ignition interlock. But where do I start? What do I do? They'll go online, they'll shop, or they'll get a list from their attorney, or whatever the situation is. It's that point in the process, where I saw the need when it came to the SR22 side. They'll walk into an insurance agency because at this point they've been programmed to think that they're high risk. I have to go into these small agencies and buy a SR22. Well, as soon as you walk in and say, hey, I need a SR22, it's a ringer for that agent. Hey, this person absolutely has to have this SR22 or they can't get their license back, which means I can charge them anything I want and they're going to pay me. And that's the reality of it. That's what happens to consumers every day. And this total package puts a stop to that. So what we're able to do, what we built specifically for this partnership with SmartStart, is the ability to give the power back to the consumers. We've waived all of our broker fees. There's no middleman or middlewoman or middle person fees. is strictly whatever the carrier's rate is exactly what goes straight to our consumers.
So I just want to repeat that, Ashur. I want to make sure you've waived all the fees.
Absolutely. So some states is broker fees, some are agency fees, whatever the fee is in that state, it's out the window. And what I've done is I've partnered with these carriers. So the General, Dairyland, Bristol West, Kemper, all your big name SR22 brands, we've sat down, we've made agreements to give this product to the consumer at the cost that the carrier provides. And once they've signed up with us through the total package with SmartStar and Topflight, they're able to literally deal directly with their insurance carrier. There is no dealing with a middle person. If you buy the General, you're going to deal with the General. You're going to use the General app. You're going to straight through to the carrier.
Okay, Ashur. So no fees to initiate, maintain, change, or cancel my SR22. No fees at all.
Absolutely.
Are we talking hundreds of dollars? Are we talking thousands of dollars? How much am I saving?
So you're looking at 3 years. The journey is usually 3 years. Some states is 2. But in that 3-year journey, when you start the policy, you pay that down payment fee, right? It's usually, we're all programmed. I think everybody in the room is programmed to know when I first start a policy, I end up paying a little more for the first payment, then it gets cheaper on the additional payments. Well, that's just the broker fee. That's the initial payment. If I need to make a change to my policy, they charge me again per change. It's usually $150 per change. Each renewal, because now I'm a high risk driver and they're going to lock in my rate so nobody finds out about my DUI, they charge me another $150 every 6 months when they renew. So to answer your question and shorten this down, you're looking around $2,000 to $3,000 in fees over the 3-year journey that we're waiving out, and we're able to save that for the consumer.
Okay, that's great. Steve, Ashur seems to be someone that's authentic and genuine. We've talked a lot about our culture over this sales conference specifically. And I think, Ashur, you've done a great job explaining and maybe sort of putting it at a level that even I can understand. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. Steve, I know you're in market a lot and you are well connected with our competitors and what our competitors are doing. Are we doing it differently? Is this different than what our competitors have in market? And what makes this special beyond telling someone that they can save thousands of dollars?
Our competitors out there, obviously, you know, we have 2 main competitors. One of them has their own insurance company. And so all those fees are still incorporated. They're running as a normal insurance company. The other one is partnered with a national brand. But again, they're charging the brokerage fees because that's where these firms and these insurance companies make their money, as Ashur said. So when we partnered together, the idea was to bring the client, you know, this journey that they're on. There's many steps, as we all know, to get through, and just to pull out some of those fees they're paying. So it's such a big impact. And when our teams go out to our influencers, who, you know, we have thousands of influencers that say, hey, they understand the journey. When we say we don't have no brokerage fees, their job basically drops. And it's like, I'm not going to use anybody else because of this one thing. And so our field sales team, I know, is very excited to take this out to our influencers in the field, and offer this to our clients.
That's great.
So to pick up on what Steve kind of put down there, the states where SR22 is not required, this is still a huge factor for those states that SmartStar is able to offer this partnership. So what happens in the journey if SR22 is not required in that state? Once you're convicted, the point count, you're convicted of that DUI, that point count hits your record. Your insurance carrier finds out, they end up dropping you or non-renewing you. This product will still allow that consumer to benefit and reap the benefits of this program of the 0 fees and having the access to shop their auto insurance at all times. So over the journey, depending on the state, if that SR22 is going to be on there for 7 years, 10 years, however long that SR22 is on their record, we'll honor the 0 broker fee for any SmartStar client. So if it's 3 years, 7 year, 10 year, they'll be able to save a ton of money.
Wow. So you're going to honor the fee, if I understand, Ashur, for that amount of time.
Absolutely. SR22 required state or not, we'll take care of that client.
Sure. One more question here. This is one of the things that scares people most. Is it true that a coverage lapse, that if your coverage lapses, you can lose your driver's license again?
Absolutely. So the way that it works, if I can, because you hear all these terms, you hear binder, filing, certificate, sum it all up in a nutshell and answer that question. SR22 is a certificate proving you've got the basic liability. We file it. The insurance carrier files it with the Department of Licensing, or if it's DMV, whoever it is in your state, whoever that administrative authority is for licensing, the carrier files it directly to them. So think of it like it's almost like a digital bridge between your insurance policy and the Department of Motor Vehicles. As soon as there's a change in your insurance policy status, it goes from active to canceled, automatically notifies the DMV, and you lose your license. You get it suspended.
Wow.
Now, to answer that question, as long as you've got an active SR22, allows you to keep that license active.
Okay. I understand we do have some questions today from the live audience. Izzy is usually in charge of doing our Reddit segment, our questions. Do you want to take this part, Izzy?
So we're going to mix it up a little bit since we do have a live audience versus going to Reddit. We're going to go ahead and have a couple questions from the audience. So, Mike, you had a question for us?
So I have a question about SR22 and FR44. If I leave state, will I still need SR22 and FR44?
That's a great question, Mike. And the answer is yes. You have to satisfy the state that you've got the DUI in. You have to satisfy their requirements. So even if you're to move, you still have to stay compliant with whatever state you got that DUI in.
And that's through the same insurance provider?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mike. That was a great question.
So a couple more from the audience. Ashley, you had a question about SR22?
Am I able to switch my SR22 provider if I'm unhappy, or am I locked into a contract?
That's a great question. So what I would recommend, the answer is yes, you can switch. But the way that I would run it, or the way that I would advise our clients to run it, shop, make sure we find the replacement carrier, activate it, file that SR22 to make sure DMV or DOL receives it, then shut the other one off. You don't want to shut it off, get your license suspended, and then find yourself a new one. But the answer is yes, absolutely, and we can definitely take care of that. Great question.
Thank you, Ashley.
And we have time for one more. So, Justin, you had a question as well.
Hello. Thank you for coming today. I appreciate it. My question is this. If I no longer have an ignition interlock device, how does it or will it affect my SR22 insurance?
That's a great question. So obviously each one has their own requirements. SR22 lasts a little bit longer. It's a 3-year requirement. The two are, we've got the total package where we give you the items that you need, but each one has its own time frame. So the answer is, if you don't need your ignition interlock, you still need the SR22. It stays active until you meet that requirement, and then you can shut it off at that point.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
Do you want any final remarks, Ashur?
No, not really. I think the total package is something that's brilliant that we've built. Thank you for the opportunity with Smart Start. It's an honor to be a partner and provide this. I literally think it's an industry changing package that we've provided, and giving this power back to the consumers and being able to help people through this journey. It feels good, and I think we're building something brilliant. So thank you.
Thank you for joining today's episode. I am Morgan Ryan. Fantastic conversation around SR22 and FR44. When you do choose to bundle your iID, that's your ignition interlock device, with Smart Start through our total package with Topflight Insurance, you can save thousands of dollars in broker fees. You can avoid initiating fees, change fees, maintenance fees, and cancel fees. You can visit www.smartstartinc.com and use coupon code Stigma free for your first 2 payments free.
Or call us at 844-766-0156 to speak with one of our program advisors.
Until next time, stay safe, drive smart.